Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 24 of the St. George Religious Education Initiative. This week we are continuing in the book of Exodus. We have a few more readings from Exodus to do. We're going to continue from where we left off in Exodus 23 with some of the laws, and then see what happens next. God's going to tell Moses to bring some of the leaders of the people, including his brother Aaron and 2 of Aaron's sons, as well as 70 of the elders of the people. So, beginning with chapter 4 in Exodus for day 1. Then he said to Moses, "Come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship at a distance. Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but the others shall not come near, and the people shall not come up with him." Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord, and all the ordinances, and all the people answered with one voice and said, "All the words that the Lord has spoken, we will do." And Moses wrote down all the words of the Lord. He rose early in the morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain, and set up 12 pillars corresponding to the 12 tribes of Israel. He sent young men of the people of Israel who offered burnt offerings and sacrificed oxen as offerings of well-being to the Lord. Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he dashed against the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it in the hearing of the people, and they said, "All that the Lord has spoken we will do, and we will be obedient." Moses took the blood and dashed it on the people, and said, "See the blood of the covenant that the Lord has made with you in accordance with all these words." Then Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel went up, and they saw the God of Israel. Under his feet there was something like a pavement of sapphire stone, like the very heaven for clearness. God did not lay his hand on the chief men of the people of Israel. Also they beheld God, and they ate and drank. The Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me on the mountain, and wait there, and I will give you the tablets of stone with the law and the commandment which I have written for their instruction." So Moses set out with his assistant Joshua, and Moses went up into the mountain of God. To the elders he had said, "Wait here for us until we come to you again, for Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has a dispute may go to them." Then Moses went up on the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. The glory of the Lord settled on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. On the 7th day he called to Moses out of the cloud. Now the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on the top of the mountain in the sight of the people of Israel. Moses entered the cloud and went up on the mountain. Moses was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Now, as always, there's a lot that we could say. I realize I say there's a lot we can say about this all the time, but it's true. There's always a lot that we can say. This time, I want to emphasize what we see at the beginning when he has them do the sacrifices, and he takes all the blood and he puts some of it in basins, and the other half of the blood he splatters and against the sides of the altar. And then he takes the basins full of blood and he talks to the people. He tells them everything God has told them to do, both the 10 Commandments originally and the expansions on the 10 Commandments, the further detail that we read some of last week about justice and worship and faithfulness to God, and when they would come into the land. All of these, the essentials of the covenant between God and his people, Moses tells the people, and they all say, "We agree." He is doing what they had asked. He is being the go-between between them and God. He's brought them the message. They all say, "Yes, we agree. We will follow these commandments." And as they do this, then he splashes them. He throws these basins of blood on them. I'm assuming he has some help. So they're drenched in the blood of these oxen that have been sacrificed. I want to emphasize this because we do not think about going to church and getting blood thrown on us so that it soaks our hair and our clothes. That's disgusting. That's horrible. We can't imagine that being normal. And yet it was. For the people of the time, worship was done with the blood of an animal, if you were lucky. Sometimes they sacrificed human beings, not to the one true God, not when they did rightly, but the peoples around them often would do human sacrifice. So, we have to understand this because in the divine liturgy, in the worship of the church, not infrequently, multiple times, we talk about the bloodless worship that we offer to God. And we don't hear this as impressive or notable or surprising any longer. We can't imagine, in fact, using blood in our worship. But this word bloodless really reflects the incredible shift, the change that occurs in worship as we have it revealed to us by the Lord Jesus Christ after his death and resurrection. Something changes, and something profound, in fact. And we might say, among the many things we can say, that whatever legitimacy was in the sacrifice of animals, the shedding of their blood before Christ's coming, his shedding willingly of his own blood, his sacrifice on our behalf in order to deliver us from sin and demonic oversight and oppression and even death itself, his sacrifice has perfected and fulfilled whatever was expected, whatever was anticipated, whatever was prophesied, whatever was signified in the sacrifice of animals beforehand. So we still are drenched in a liquid when we come into covenant with God, but instead of it being the blood of animals, it is the water of baptism. We still worship God, but we offer him ourselves, symbolized with the bread and wine that we bring from the fruit of our labors, and we offer it to him as we offer ourselves and one another and our whole life to Christ our God, and he gives himself back to us in the body and blood that we receive in Holy Communion. So our worship has changed, and yet it is not just it's not that God comes and says to us, oh, that thing that you were doing before with all the blood, I don't like that. Stop doing that. This is how you actually ought to worship me. He says, what was being done, I have perfected, I have completed, I have fulfilled in myself. Do this now in remembrance of me. Do this to worship me. And therefore we offer the bread and the wine and receive them back again from the Lord as his very body and blood, as Holy Communion. So there's more in this reading, but this bit about blood is worth remembering. So we'll talk again on Wednesday for day 2. For now, have a happy week 24. God bless you all.